I think, this conference has a lot of industry folks here as well. I think there's become a general feeling that the kind of collaboration which we're trying to get in the joint world doesn't also extend to industry, that industry needs a more collaborative environment, that they don't feel they get enough sense of where you want them to go, and yet they are willing to invest money to try to help you go there. So I think the question is, do you have any thoughts about how you could engage industry better than it currently is being engaged?
Yeah, it was interesting when I came into the job. I met with a bunch of folks in industry. First of all, I became aware that some people thought, well, you can't really do that. And I said, why not? They're Americans, aren't they? Last time I checked, they were on our side. And so, yeah, I mean, and sure enough, you can find the smart lawyers, and there are some, believe it or not. And they came in and said, of course you can meet with them. You just can't meet with one and show favorites, which I understand. In our job, we can't do that. But what struck me when I met with the industry leaders was how they had very good relations with certain elements of the Department of Defense, and others had no relationship. And when I dove more deeply into it, I found the very thing that I'd run into initially, which was some of the services had gotten to the point of paralysis because they felt they could not speak to members of industry, representative of industry, because somehow it was illegal. I mean, there are right ways to do this where you never violate our ethical rules. There's a reason why our industries are trusted. But at the same time, we must maintain the trust of the American people that we're not doing some subtle modifications to the fair practices of our acquisition efforts. And so I think that the most important thing is that we open the lines of communication in a way that consider industry, American industry and allied industries where it's appropriate, as partners in this effort. And I think the most important thing is to get the communication going again in the areas where it's language. Now, there's some areas where it's very healthy, and from R&D efforts and everything else, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of sharing, and a lot of exploration that's very, very valuable. So it's a mixed bag right now. In some areas, I like the way it's working, but I want to encourage all of you strictly within the ethical regulations. Do not have imaginary legal restrictions on your leadership responsibility to find the best bang for the buck, to find the most far-reaching innovations that are out there. I lived for 3 years after I got out of the Marines in Silicon Valley, right on Sand Hill Road, and nothing is more reminding of just how innovative America is, and to live in the middle of Silicon Valley and see the way that they're changing the world we live in. And so I want you all engaged in this, and to make certain that the lines of communication are open in a way that we can aggressively and swiftly take advantage of the opportunities that we see developing around us in the private sector.